Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, recording episode, I don't know, 315 or so. And today I have with me Matthew Sutika. I'm sure I butchered your last name, with Obie. Matthew, thank you for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me. You did pretty good. Very close. Sutika,
Sutika.
I think you were a little bit more confident in it. You would have had it.
So I am really curious. Where is the last name from?
It is Czechoslovakian, is what I'm told. But I'm not sure now if we had to go Czech Republic or Slovakia.
That's right, because the country is split in the 90s.
So
absolutely,
that decision was made well after our days of the name.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Matthew, we always give the guest a chance to kind of give the elevator pitch. What is Obie?
Absolutely. So this is a fun question for me in general, because I always think very big. So if you had me describe myself as a person, I describe our business the same way. I describe myself as a entrepreneur who happens to do insurance, and I describe Obie kind of the same way. We are a company that's trying to change the way that insurance is done, most specifically in the way that a consumer is able to obtain an insurance policy. We happen to start in the rental space first because we found that it was a really good niche. It's a really good Dropbox type product for the industry. We found that there's a lot of inefficiencies in this space, and that we could really not only provide something to a consumer directly or to a channel partner directly, but also we can be a great tool for the independent broker to provide a rental type product to a consumer faster.
So
perfect.
So rental properties, right?
Yes.
So commercial lines owned rental properties. Okay, perfect. So I played a little bit in that space. I used to be the account manager for American Modern. Not account manager. I used to be the sales manager for American Modern out in California, and they have a product for people with multiple rentals. Now, only 10 or more dwellings, right? So my understanding was that outside of a very niche product, there's not a lot of great coverage for rental units, right? And insurance companies don't really love rental units. So yeah. What did the rental insurance market look like before Obie, and how are you guys trying to improve that?
Yeah, it's actually a fantastic question. If I could have anybody softball it for me, that is ideal. Because no, it really is, because that's what I want to get into, is that the space before Obie was a lot of carriers who, let's call it a State Farm or an Allstate, right? Great P&C, personal lines, home and auto carriers, right? They would flip their homeowners policy to a rental dwelling policy. And they did it for one reason, really, in my opinion, one reason only, is that they have all this core home and auto, and all of a sudden their customer decides they're going to own a second home and rent it out. They don't want that person to leave with their bread and butter home and auto. So they're like, hey, we'll provide it for you, right? Now, if that didn't exist, those carriers would care less, right? That is not their core business, right? And then you have some of the American Moderns, like you mentioned, and some of these other programs who have done it, and they have either a restriction of they only do so many, or they won't work with you until you have so many, right?
Yeah, which is the problem I had at American Modern. Yeah,
absolutely. And then there's a lot of people in that space, because they're flipping a homeowner's policy, or they're flipping the policy into something that really doesn't cover it, it's kind of gray, right? They don't really understand the consumer. They don't understand that most lenders are going to require 1 million, 2 million, not 500,000 on a GL. They're not realizing it's 2022 and Airbnb is a thing and short-term leases are a thing. And who has owned a rental and hasn't remodeled it or renovated it or had it vacant for a little bit or couldn't find a tenant, deal, right? Yeah. That stuff happens, right? So our product and what does exist now is we're filling that gap. We are excited about that space. You can do one, you can do a million, so we don't have that. We hit all the lender requirements. You want to do short term, you want to do, shared rooms, there's a lot of companies doing like shared spaces, right? Like you want to rent out a couple rooms in your house, like there needs coverage for that. So we're looking at all of that, and we're actually taking it from the opposite approach. Most carriers said, hey, we have a product and we're going to try to force clients into it so that we can offer rental. We're
the
saying,
traditional insurance way.
Yeah, let's figure out who our clients are, and then let's build a product for them, right? And so that's what we've done at Obie. So we really understand this space, and we're there. And then, which is the other thing for for your listeners, is like we're not wanting to be competition. We're wanting to be a partner, right? So we want to partner with the person who wants to do their own property management and they want to do it at 1 a.m. You can go to our site and get that quote and bind and do everything for yourself. We want to be a partner to the captives, the independents, all brokers and agents. We want them to write our product. We want them to say, hey, I have a really good core home and auto, but like we're going to use Obie for our clients for the rental because it's a better product and we can get paid on it just as much as we can get paid on from any carrier. And then we want to be last. We want to be embedded. We want to be fast and easy to use for a lot of the other like prop tech and other people in the space who have clients of rental dwellings, right? That need insurance in the same way they're coming to them in a tech-driven manner to get their property management done. Of course, they want the same experience for their insurance, and they don't want to have their clients leave their platform because that's the whole sales process and the whole idea. So we want to embed our product right into their platform for them so they can have that insurance coverage the way that they're selling everything else.
Okay, perfect. So from a single rental unit to as many as you have,
yes,
and you can do it through your agent, and it's a full-on modern platform.
Absolutely. So right now, yeah, you can go to our site, 50 states, 1 to 4 unit. You can take care of yourself instantly. Schedules, we turn around for you. If you have 1,000 property schedule, we'll turn that around. We accept things digitally and we get it right back out through our partners. But that's usually like a 24-hour turnaround to do something large. And then really our secret sauce is building a lot of these embedded products of our digital to these platforms. And then from the brokerage side or IA side, they're going to be able to access a portal and access us very similar to a lot of the ways they're accessing a Hippo or a Lemonade or some of these other insurtechs to sell those products.
Okay, and the actual insurance product, so not the tech product, but the actual insurance product, is it an ISO form? Is it a dwelling fire form? Like what is the insurance?
Commercial. We're doing a commercial package.
Okay, so it's a commercial package. Okay.
Yep, and depending on we're kind of upfront. Most insurtechs have started where they have their own paper and their own paper only, and then they only launch in like one state at a time, right? Because our company acquired a full brokerage and we have partners who need to write in all states, we're kind of taking a more of a Costco model where it's, hey, we're going to write on, maybe it is an American Modern, right? But we're making the experience digital on it. So we can have all 50 states available for customers right away, but the experience is digital. And then as we create our Kirkland brand, like our own MGA, we just went live with Munich and our own actual, full on our carrier in Ohio, we'll eventually, kind of add those into the mix, right? So very similar to how Costco works, where, we're still wanting to work with a lot of our partners that provide, great insurance policies that maybe just need the tech to get the clients there. And then, in some parts we'll have our own, policy and form to kind of fill in some of those inefficiencies and things that we're missing in the market, as you and I discussed.
Okay. So all 50 states already.
Yep.
The carrier in the background varies for now. As you, which is, that rollout process is a beast and it takes time.
Yeah, and most carriers are like this in a way, right? Like you look at Travelers, they call it Travelers Ohio or Travelers Michigan, like they're writing carriers, they call it. It's kind of all the same mix, you know. They just eventually, when you get big enough, like a Travelers or State Farm, you just rebrand all those writing carriers with your own name on them and pick a state or pick a region. It's kind of the same mix, and so we're really concentrating on that forward end of things and making sure that the process is simple to obtain the policy.
Okay, so for the agents or brokers, in order to get access to Obie, do they have to have a certain amount of flow of business of this type, or is it a pretty open, like apply on the website and get access very, very quickly kind of thing?
More towards the latter, you know, and we kind of have to be, because, you know, 90+% of IA brokers, you know, the rental space is a secondary or even I don't know what the word is, a thirdly or fourthly option, right?
Yeah, it's not something they're focused on. Yeah.
So we actually, but that's okay, because we think we're a product. You know, if you are starting a homeowners insurance company right now, right, there's a very small amount of brokerages around the country that would want a contract because they have so many homeowners and auto carriers. We think that 90+% of brokerages out there will want a contract with us because they probably just don't have a great rental dwelling quick, you know, way to do that. So we're probably going to do more contracts and do it through like an aggregation model, whether we have like one source that you get signed up and, you know, get access to our product. But so we think we'll be in a ton of brokerages, but the average brokers, you know, they just don't write a lot of these, and that's okay. But we want to be there as a tool in their bag.
Okay, so basically, if you ever see rental units,
yeah, think Obie.
Quoting Obie makes sense. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm curious on the origin story. How did where did it come from? How do you guys realize that something was broken, that you wanted to play in this space?
Yeah, it's a good combination. So our founders of Obie, Aaron and Ryan, her brothers, they started Obie, you know, in or around the time I started a company called Skylight. Let's call it 2017 timeframe. And, you know, Skylight was a brokerage helping in the real estate market, just like a normal brokerage. We were working with a large real estate company, and we were doing a good job with insurance. And Obie was, you know, founded in a way to help in the real estate market at the time. People who own these real estate assets kind of organize their stuff better than a Dropbox or better than, you know, Excel files. And, you know, Obie at the time realized that they needed to, you know, make money. You don't want to be a company that doesn't have, you know, revenue. And they were going to use insurance as one of the ways to do that. People were on their platform, offer them an insurance quote if they, you know, wanted that quote and it went forward. Skylight would be the quoting and the, you know, and the binding, and then there would be a rev share between the companies. Flash forward into later on, Aaron and Ryan got invited to YC or Y Combinator. It's a nice incubator out in California. You know, a lot of big companies like Airbnb and stuff like that have been through there. And really, you know, I didn't go through the program with them, so, you know, forgive my butchering of what, you know, how they would pitch their elevator pitch. But YC really takes good ideas and good people and turns them into great ideas and great companies, and helps them kind of form an idea, get them some VC funding, get them some connections, and really set them on to that seed round, Series A type of next steps. And that's what happened with Obie when they were out there. A lot of the people were very interested in the rental space, how we were using insurance. And the idea that came out of it was that there's really this need in the space, like I have talked about, for a digital rental dwelling type policy, you know, a Hippo or Lemonade in the rental space, right? Because they were like the hot topics at the time. And so, long story short, they acquired Skylight under their umbrella of Obie, since we were already going down the insurtech space there. In April of 2020, we brought over all of myself and the team at Skylight, and Obie was officially an insurtech, working towards being our own MGA, and now flash forward, was that 2 years later, we're live with our MGA in Ohio. We got our instant product in 50 states, and more than anything, and probably for some of the viewers, our partnerships within the prop tech space that we're connected with, from the Roofstocks to the Belong Home to Fundrise type of companies, is really unique. And we're staying nimble on the tech side in the rental space, because we want to be there even if a State Farm or someone called us up and said, hey, we really want to be powered by Obie, or because that's really we are becoming our own carrier, but we're also providing technology to the insurance space. So really kind of have the Amazon Web Services type of feel, which I think is pretty unique and cool for the space.
Okay. I'm always curious about people's kind of personal path, and in your case, looking at your LinkedIn, you were an exclusive agent, right?
Yes.
So from exclusive agent to running an insurtech is a radical change. So I'm just curious. How
I can
that,
jump in on that.
Yeah, how that transition went for you, and kind of what advice do you have for other exclusives that want to jump into the insurtech space?
Yeah, I think my personal journey kind of potentially sums up what's happening in the industry as a whole, right? I grew up, my dad was a State Farm agent, and when the years of him being a State Farm agent, it was amazing. It was hang your shingle and they will come, right? Like
the exclusive agency job was amazing.
Right? Yeah, it was amazing. My dad had the best life. We were well taken care of the whole night. I loved insurance, and so coming out of school, I got into the captive, into a State Farm, because that's what I knew. And what I realized, and we did very, very well. We were always a top 5, top 10, good office, type of thing in the space for State Farm. But what I realized is that his journey was not the same as mine, right? He didn't have to worry, or maybe he did in his own way, about like the technology companies coming in, the insurtechs coming in. And what I was worried about, starting mine at 22, 23 years old, and having this 40, 50-year journey, because they're State Farm's like a Chick-fil-A, right? It's like owner operated. You got to stay in it forever. Like there's no like sale or buyout. That like in maybe the next 10 years, it's still really the gravy train with the biscuit wheels. But what about 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, right? Like down the road. And so I have a lot of like really good things about State Farm. I just, kind of outgrew them from a long-term standpoint of where I thought the next part of the space was going to go. And so in between my insurtech journey, I went over and started an independent agency, what I mentioned with Skylight. And it was built around my first idea that actually is, I'll come back to, which I think is huge in the insurtech space and where insurtech 2.0 is going. And that's how you bring in the business, right? So what brokers like my dad and even the independent agents still today, what they do really, really well is acquire business at a low cost, or the good ones they do, right? And so what my IA journey was we had a large real estate company that I was going to build an insurance brokerage around that helped them as their agents closed homeowners or homes. We would provide the homeowners insurance policy for them. It was our first version of embedded, if you will, right? And so from that, going then to the insurtech, I got to see kind of this whole journey of how in the insurance is going, right? And then through that, when I was at that IA in the middle, I started to consult and talk and be the first brokerage who actually had contracts with the Lemonades and the Hippos and the Openleys and all these insurtechs in the space. So I actually got to see a little bit of what it was like to be a broker selling their products, right? And I got to see how they went from like, death to the independent broker and, let's do everything through Google and thing to like, oh, these brokers aren't bad people, right? We can actually let them write some business. And so when I finally got to Obie, I feel like we're heading up and part of this InsurTech 2.0 that is really doing the same things that was successful in the 1.0s, the, you know, the growth, the providing things quicker, faster, more efficient. But we're concentrating a little bit on things of profitability. We're concentrated on like loss ratio. It's no longer growth at all costs, right? And so I think you'll see this next wave of the 2.0s, you know, doing that type of stuff. And I think you'll see clearly that the 1.0s in the insurtech space will be correcting those items, right? They're starting to work with brokers. They're starting to think about their bottom line. They're starting to think about their loss ratio. And so that's going to be the next wave in the insurtech space. So I've really, you know, in my personal journey, got to kind of go through and see everything going on, and then use that to our advantage at Obie as we've decided how we want to be as a company and how we want to position ourselves within the insurance space.
Excellent. Matthew, thank you very much for your time. It's been fun. It's been interesting. Looking forward to see you guys continue to grow. You kind of alluded early on that you guys were looking beyond just the rental space. So looking forward to see you guys grow as an insurance company. And thank you so much for your time. When the podcast goes live, I will tag you on LinkedIn, and I will include the link to Obie. And again, look forward to see you guys continue to grow.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.